Welcome back to the She Thrives Influential Women podcast. I am your host, Lori Murphy, and I am an empowerment coach for women. And for those of you who are just now starting to follow this podcast, a little bit about me is that my journey in recovery from alcoholism, which started just about 13 years ago, led me down a path of self-discovery. It led me down a path of finding self-love, self-worth, and it led me to hearing my calling to help women overcome fear, build their confidence, finding their self-love, and be able to thrive in all areas of their life. I am certified as a holistic health and wellness coach through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And I'm also certified as a transformational life coach through the Transformation Academy. And it is my passion and my mission to be able to help women grow, to help them thrive, whether it's in their own personal health and wellness journeys, or if it's through their own personal growth and development journeys. I got your back. I'm here for you. And starting this podcast was my way of being able to not only share my journey, but bring women on who have strong influence, whose journeys are impactful, and the things that they've overcome, and the things that they were able to start in their lives. And today I have an awesome guest I'm excited to bring on. My dear friend who I'm so grateful we connected. We connected through our past guest, excuse me, Casey Demers. And her name is Melinda Escobedo, if I have, and she's amazing. Like, we've only connected a couple times, and our conversations have already been deep and impactful. She is a true inspiration. Melinda is a certified Reiki and sound bath healer, and she is also an intuitive medium. And today she's going to share a powerful story about shifting mindset, healing, and where she started and where she is today. I'm so excited. Melinda, how are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very excited to share my story and
Yeah.
hopefully, others, the right people will hear this story and be inspired.
Oh, 100%. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
So my name is Melinda Escobedo. I'm actually originally from Binghamton, New York. I'm I'm a certified Reiki healer. I've gotten into this because I've had some events in my life that really woke me up. And I started back when I was younger. I grew up in a fear-based mindset.
Mm.
I struggled a lot with anxiety. The fear of death was something that overpowered me when I was little. I would constantly worry. I had a lot of struggles growing up, a lot of which actually led into like me getting sick a lot. And then later in my teenage years, my parents got a divorce, and they used me kind of like against each other a little bit, and
Mm.
it was like really hard. And then I found a boyfriend who was very physically and emotionally abusive to me. Um, he, um, I got pregnant. He forced me into getting an abortion, which was very hard. I was very depressed. I went into a big depression to the point where I thought, why am I still here? It was very hard for me to find any reasons. I constantly would have sicknesses and things wrong with me, and was constantly going to the doctors. I had my gallbladder removed and they punctured my lung. I have autoimmune diseases. I was constantly at the doctor's office thinking that I had things like brain cancer, or I would diagnose myself. I would get on the internet and I would Google, why does this hurt? And then it would go into this big spiral, which would cause me actual like physical ailments because my mindset was, well, what's wrong? There must be something wrong with me. So I would actually physically manifest all of these things that were wrong with me. And, I ended up getting pregnant with a man that was married's child, so I was in the mindset that I had to do this by myself. Um, and I had an eating disorder. I was bulimic and I struggled with body dysmorphia and being good enough and my self-worth and loving who I am. And, um, and all of those things led me to, on October 12th of 2021, my daughter got diagnosed with leukemia. And we, you know, the worst thing you could do, the worst thing in life is a diagnosis of cancer for your child. And we set our intentions that, once she got the diagnosis, we're like, okay, now what do we do? What do we do? Fix my kid. Like, let's go. Let's move forward. And from that moment on, we were like, nothing but healing for you. Like, I would visualize her ringing the bell. It was actually I could literally see her ringing the I'm done with chemo bell. But, with her diagnosis, she had to go through 2.5 years of chemotherapy. And we didn't share a lot of her journey on Facebook or on media because I can remember an instance where my younger daughter, right after Riley was diagnosed, wanted to go trick or treating. And I said, okay, I'm going to try to suck this up and I'm going to go. I walked into the house of her friends and I call it the I shot my dog. Someone shot your dog eyes. And I walked in and everyone looked at me like somebody shot me, like with this sadness and like this overwhelming sense of like, and it wasn't their fault. Like they didn't know, they didn't like, but I could not handle that emotion. So from that point on, I was like, I can't share this story because I don't want sadness and sympathy projected onto me because in my mind, my daughter is moving forward. She's not, and I don't want anybody to, and I know people don't mean to, but it's like, though that energy really matters, like, and
Mhm.
so when we had the choice, we had to decide like moving forward, she's healthy and she's going to thrive. And I didn't view her as a sick child, even with, no hair and, getting blood transfusions and going through all of everything that she's went through that no parent should ever have to watch their kid go through, honestly. But it's proof that, like, if you set your intentions in your mind into healing and love and positive, good energy, that there's no doubt in my mind that me and my family healed my daughter. Like, we helped heal her. We helped her through this because if I saw a lot of families around me who didn't choose that path and
Right.
their families weren't as successful as our families. And I didn't, that wasn't an option for us. That wasn't an option, like healing, thriving. And she is now today, she's in 10th grade. And this is the first year where she's not getting any chemo at all.
That's
And
awesome.
she's, she had to give up. She played softball and she was pitching, and now she's pitching again. And she's joined a rec league and she's thriving with friends. And, you know, she had her first sleepover where she didn't want to come home or didn't have a headache or wasn't dizzy or tired and it was
Right.
just like, those moments are really so wonderful. And it really truly like going back and like thinking about everything that I've been through in my
Hmm.
life. It wouldn't, if I didn't go through all of that stuff, I wouldn't be who I am today
Sure.
to help my daughter move forward and thrive. Like I wouldn't, and this needs to be shared. What happened with me needs to be, shared with other people. So, because if I can
Absolutely.
motivate just one person to start their healing journey and to understand that all of that stuff that happened in my past happened for a reason. And if we don't
Hmm.
learn from what has happened to us,
Sure.
then it's just going to keep coming back. And it was 35 years of negative.
Sure. So
Bad.
I have to ask,
Yes, yes, yes.
did your daughter ring the bell?
She did. She rang in April.
Yay!
Rang the bell in April.
See, and you manifested that.
I
Like
literally saw it.
your mindset, you shifted that mindset because, I mean, you had mentioned before the podcast started, like before all of this, you had
Yes,
a very negative mindset. And
very.
for the sake of your daughter, you and your family came together. You didn't allow that negative energy or that, I don't even want to say negative
Yeah.
because, people, when they are looking at you with those eyes, like you said, they don't mean it because it's coming from a place of compassion and love
Yes, yes.
because they love you, they love your daughter. And it's heartbreaking when you hear something like that because you never want the people that you care about to have to experience that.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you want to bring that energy of healing and moving forward
Hmm.
and, having a positive outcome. You want to put that energy all into that healing process. And I truly believe that there is a lot of power in the mind. It,
100%.
it's like you said, like you had mentioned, now we're going to dial back a little bit to the beginning of your story when you started was, you know, you found yourself Googling symptoms and sending yourself into a spiral.
Awful. It was awful.
And it's almost like you are manifesting something to go wrong.
So I want to touch on that because it's so strange. Like going back, like I am an intuitive medium and I've always had this gift.
Hmm.
And my biggest fear was getting cancer.
Hmm.
And it's like there was a part of me that always kind of knew, I knew that something bigger was going to happen in my life.
Hmm.
And I I hate to say this, but it's like, I don't know, like I just feel like maybe did there was thoughts like, did I manifest Riley getting cancer? But I think I just knew that I was going to be faced with some sort of cancer battle, and
Hmm.
it was just my daughter. Do you know what I mean? Like
That makes sense.
it, I had these feelings, and I always thought it was going to be for me. I thought
Hmm.
it would be me who faced it. So that's why like I would always spiral. I would always go. I can remember before my wedding, I was getting headaches. And I went to the walk-in and he immediately said, "Well, you could have a brain tumor." Why on earth would you do that to me? Like, why would you do that to me? So immediately I go home and I can't sleep at night. I'm
Yeah.
up all night with anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I have a brain tumor. I'm dying. I'm not even gonna get to my wedding. What's happening? And they did a brain scan and I'm normal. And I'm
Yeah.
like mindset, like don't, that's another thing. I haven't been going to the doctor as much and I don't Google anything. I don't watch news. I don't watch any of the negative stuff because I don't
Sure.
want to get wrapped up in my mind, because when I start thinking about negative things, or you know school shootings or people getting beat up or bad things, like that carries over into my life.
Hmm.
And then I start seeing these things happen in my life, and that's not my reality, and that's
Sure.
not who I am. So I actually stopped listening to music. I don't even have like a music channel in my car because silence is so peaceful, and so it's like almost a meditation.
See, I find that I couldn't agree with that more. So I try to give myself time in the day, even if it's only for 5 minutes, to have complete and total silence because that is when, and I've actually shared this on my social media before, that is where clarity comes in. So throughout the day, all day, our mind is full of jargon and garbage. We are scattered, we are busy, we are running from here to there in all the things. But when we can sit still and sit in silence, all of that suppresses and it becomes calm. It's almost like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen a lake first thing in the morning?
Yes. It is
And the
such a
water is still. There is not a ripple in the water. You can see the bottom of the lake, the floor of the lake, clear as day.
yeah.
And that is almost what happens with not even almost, that is exactly what
Yes.
happens to our minds when we can sit in silence and so much
Yeah.
can come through for us. We can finally hear, you know, that message that the universe or God is trying to tell you.
The magical place to be.
And I love silence.
Oh,
I do like to listen to music, but I do like to also sit in my car with no and just have that, or sit in my yard, and just
it's funny because I have a vision. So like we're gonna be moving into a new home soon. Not, I mean, we're gonna start looking into a new home, and
Mhm.
I'm envisioning and manifesting a spot in my like backyard
Mhm.
where I can just sit with, like no shoes and socks on and just sit and meditate or lay and look up at the stars or like, and just thinking about that brings me peace.
Yeah. And it's like I sit there and I will think about that vision of what I have for my life and where I see myself.
Yes.
And I get excited because it's like I could see it clear as
Yeah.
day, like I'm gonna get there. And
Yes.
then it's like I have these moments where, you know, so one of my goals is to move to the Adirondacks. I want a house in the mountains
Awesome.
by a lake.
That sounds
You know
so
what I mean?
nice.
And my
That
husband
sounds,
and I, we talk
yeah.
about it all the time because we're up there all the time.
Yeah.
And he has that same desire and passion too. And, we were up in the Old Forge area over the weekend and we're meeting people and talking to business owners. And we met this woman who she moved from, I forgot where she was out of state and then she moved here, lived in the Catskills. Now she's in the Adirondacks, and that was like her goal. She's like, it took me time to get here, but I got here. And now she like shares, she'll take her GoPro, put it on the top of her car, and she'll drive along like
Wow.
mountain roads. And
That's
she's got it
cool.
on her YouTube channel. And I'm gonna actually bring her on the podcast at some
Oh,
point
wow.
because her and I got talking, and it was just like I can feel that this is where I'm supposed to be. Like I can
Yeah.
feel myself like it's coming. It might take maybe a couple of years to get there, but it's
Okay.
coming. Like
Yeah.
just by having conversations. And I know that because I've been sitting and allowing myself to sit with my eyes closed and envision it to the
Yeah.
point where I believe that if this is going this it's almost like with manifestation, you are almost telling your mind that this is actually really happening because your mind cannot decipher the difference of
Yeah.
reality and what's not reality.
Yes.
It really can't. So when you're telling your mind and your
Yeah.
body, like, this is my reality, it's almost like you are creating it.
100%.
Then it's really hard for it not to happen because now you have that drive.
Absolutely. They say the best time to manifest is like right before you go to sleep, right before, because it's like it's again like you said, it's like mm, when your mind believes it, then it comes. It's like
Mhm.
forced. And what I don't know if you know who this is, Dolores Cannon. She's amazing. She's passed on, but I watch her videos quite a bit, and she was doing this like, okay, this manifestation exercise, just like close your eyes and pick a time frame of like what you want to be, and she's like, walk up this stairway and open the door and step into this 3 year future
Hey
thing.
Jim, I'm just full.
And I stepped into and I walked, I saw my house, I saw Riley was graduating from high school and I like started uncontrollably crying and felt this overwhelming sense of happiness. I'm like, oh my God, this is my future. This is literally my future and what is going to happen to me. And every night before I go to bed, I say, my name is Melinda Escobedo and only wonderful things happen to me. Our new house is amazing. I speak it like it already exists. Our new house is amazing. My kids are healthy and thriving and doing great in life. I'm healthy and thriving. I love myself. Every single night I say this to myself because I'm like, I'm manifesting wonderful, great things in my
Sure.
life. And
Yeah.
I'm, it's funny. Actually, Casey calls me a master manifester because I can manifest. Like I said, I always have there's one spot at Trader Joe's that's always sitting there waiting for me. And I'll say, my name's Melinda Escobedo and my spot's available. So before I go there, I swear on my kids, like it's always there and it's always available. And I'm like, my future is phenomenal. I'm a
Hmm.
successful healer and I'm helping so many people. And I'm so happy, healthy, and wealthy. And my kids are happy, healthy, and wealthy. And it's like every night before I go to bed. And I think it's so important for people to try to do, you know?
Hmm. Absolutely. And I spend my like in the mornings when I'm getting ready for work, a lot of times I pull up YouTube, I listen to a lot of motivational
That's amazing.
podcasts, things
Yeah.
like that. And right now I've been listening a lot to, I actually had to pull it up because I always forget his name.
Yeah.
Um, Joe Dispenza is
Oh,
his name.
okay. Okay.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Joe
Oh,
Dispenza, um, but he is basically like a manifestation mindset guru, right?
yeah.
Like, and a lot of his talks are about creating the life you want. And he's the one who has inspired me to take that time to sit
Love
and
that.
manifest and really create that life that I want. And you know, it's like I wake up every day and I will tell myself, I am healthy. I am successful in my business and, attracting abundance, whether it's a financial abundance or it's abundance of health, abundance of love. Um, and I
Mhm.
truly believe that that has made a lot of shifts in things in my life.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's like, it's amazing that there is a huge, powerful component into the way we think and the way we speak to ourselves.
Really is.
And it's like you were saying about like Googling things. Like I used to be a big Googler when
Oh,
it came to like, I remember I was having chronic migraines.
yeah. Oh
Chronic
my God.
migraines. I mean, I
Oh,
had this migraine headache for 4 months. I was in and out of the ER. The doctors kept putting me on all these different medications, trying to
my
figure it
God.
out. And I remember going onto like WebMD or Wikipedia or one of those
Awful.
websites and basically diet, said that I could have a
Awful.
brain tumor.
It's awful, isn't it?
But my friend and I, we kind of tried to laugh about it and we called it Gustifer. We named it.
Oh my God.
And I was like, or a brain aneurysm. So I was just like, this is it. Like, this is it. I had myself convinced. Um, Thankfully, that was not the case. It was a cluster headache, which those things are freaking brutal.
Oh
And
God.
they are hard to, they do stick around. They do last and kind of just have to like get the proper treatment to get it to subside.
Yeah.
Um, But it's like I found myself recently kind of going into a spiral because I'm going through like I've talked about this on my podcast and I've
Yeah.
talked about this openly, like perimenopause stuff.
Yep.
And so I got my blood tests results with my numbers, right, for the hormones, the
Yep.
testosterone, the estrogen. And my doctor took a week and a half to get back to me.
I
So
mean, why do they do that though? Honestly, like, come
So,
on.
so now, like, and I'm using a resource, I won't Google anymore. I actually use an AI um tool that is very specific and it actually is very informative. Like, it's
Yeah.
true facts. And you know, I'm like going down this spiral, and I swear I wonder if it like was making it worse for myself, right? Because now it's all I'm thinking about, like
Yeah.
maybe it's not perimenopause, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Because my doctor is trying to rule out if I have an actual condition that might be causing this such an early age. Because I'll be 42 in a month.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, well, all right. So then, I'm talking to my mother, and she's telling me that, we do have a gene for that could cause, like, forms of cancer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to know? Right?
Mhm.
Like I could go and get tested for this gene, but I know what I'll do. I'll sit there, and in the back of my mind, it'll be there. And almost like, am I going to create this to happen? Because now it's going to be like, I'm going to tell myself it's going to happen.
That's yes.
Right? Or it's
Yeah.
like, and then like with the perimenopause stuff, I'm like, okay, I can sit here and keep doing my research and keep reading about it. Or I can just say, well, it is what it is. It's perimenopause. It's probably nothing else. And I am choosing to let this go
Yes.
and just keep telling myself that I am in good health,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And believing
100%.
that because I am in good health,
Yes.
what's happening is normal. And I'm just not, I'm letting it go. Like I'll go to my OBGYN in November. We'll address it. It'll be fine. Like, stop torturing myself with the what ifs.
I have I have my own little story. So, um, back in like March, I went out, we had a date night, me and my husband, and I had a couple of drinks, which I've since like, oh my God, I don't even like alcohol anymore. But I woke up the next morning and my ankles and my wrists were swollen and sore and it wouldn't go away. So I went to the doctor and they took blood work and she told me that I am borderline could possibly have lupus. And I'm like, okay. And I went into this like, oh my God, what do I do? So I made an appointment with a rheumatologist and I was talking to Casey and I looked up like what helps with inflammation in your joints and I'm actually now taking bee venom supplements, which 100% helps. And I'm eating better and I'm not drinking like I was and I've like and you can't give that stuff energy. Like if you focus on it, then it will be. And I'm like, I didn't even go to the rheumatologist appointment. Like I didn't go because I'm like, I don't have lupus. I'm fine. I'm healthy, happy, and thriving. Like I haven't had a problem with my ankles. I haven't had a problem with my wrists. It hasn't happened again. I'm, and it's like, you don't focus and give that energy, it will not be. I love that that happened to you too, because it's like validation for me that it's not who I am. That's not a part of my life.
Right.
So I'm glad that you told me that story. Thank you. That was,
Yeah. Well, it's like I feel like, because I know that I can get very fixated.
yeah, me too.
Like we share that in common. Like I can get fixated. And I think I do believe that if we think it to the point where like to where we believe it,
Yeah.
it'll happen.
Hmm.
Or if we're constantly thinking it, we're thinking it into fruition.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you are like I've seen it happen. Like but where like my fears have gotten the best of me, and I will
Yes.
fixate on it, and then whatever it is I'm fearing will eventually come true because in some way, shape, or form, without even realizing it, I may actually be sabotaging the
Yes.
situation I'm in, a job, a relationship,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Anything.
Yes.
Something I'm
100%.
striving for because I have actually made myself believe that I wasn't good enough, or I made myself believe that this was going to happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yes. I do 100%. And that leads me to another little thing. And if my mother is listening to this, please forgive me. But my mother is afraid to travel because she's had so many bad experiences, and she has
Hmm.
that in her mind that if she steps out of her box and travels and goes somewhere, that she's going to get hurt or get. And I'm like, Mom, I love you, but if you continue to think that way, then you will. Like, if you set your intentions in your mind to, you know, like, okay, if I go anywhere, I'm gonna fall and break my arm, because she traveled down to Florida, she fell, broke her arm, it didn't heal. She had to have, surgery and a whole metal rod put in her arm. And now she's like, well, I can't go anywhere because if I walk out the door, my knees are, I'm going to hurt, or I'm going to do this. I'm like, well, you need to try to change your mindset, Mom. Like, I love you so much with all of my heart, but it's like, you need to, no, today's going to be a great day. I'm healthy, happy, and thriving, and nothing is going to affect me. And again, if Mommy, when you're listening to this, I love you so much. And all my intentions are very pure and wonderful. But like, just an example of like setting your intentions for your day. It's
Hmm.
good, good day.
Yeah,
I'm wonderful. I'm happy and healthy. Like,
sure.
and whatever does pop up in my life, you have control of of your response of what happens. So like, even if something happens that you may not really agree with or be excited about, well, I control how I respond to
Hmm.
it. And there's a light in every situation. You need to
Hmm.
be grateful for even something as bad as your daughter getting diagnosed with leukemia. There's a light in that. We have met so many, like, the people down at the Melody Center are angels on earth. That's where she gets her treatments. It's a blood disorder and cancer unit for children. They are literally, my daughter loves going there. Now, someone who's going through chemo and gets diagnosed with leukemia wants to go down to the center you get your chemo treatments. Like, she wants to go there because that's the environment they make it. It's a positive, wonderful place to be. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like people need to remember that in every negative, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is, something to be grateful for. And that's another thing I do before I go to bed is like, there's something new to be grateful for every night, every
Hmm.
day. There's something new. Like, I'm grateful that I was able to get up and walk because some people can't walk, or I'm grateful that I have food in my house and a roof over my head.
Hmm.
I have, gas in my car to get me to point A to point B. Like, there's always something to be grateful for. And it's so important, even in the worst situations, the worst times that you're going through, to remember that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this situation. I'm grateful for this negative, not, I shouldn't, I don't want to keep saying negative. I'm sorry. Like, the situation that maybe not as idealistic as I would like it to be. I've learned something from this. You need to remember, you need to learn from that experience.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I want to take it back a little bit more again because so I feel like one of the things that it's so easy for people that went from a negative mindset to a positive mindset to talk about it. But
it's so hard.
so with your, that place you were in before you found your way to a positive mindset, you said you struggled with eating disorders. I have a history of anorexia and, the body dysmorphia, the bad relationships. My parents divorced and it was a very rough time in my life. So I feel like I can resonate a lot with your story.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear. I know that your daughter's diagnosis was that turning point for you,
It
but
was.
what were the steps that you took to be able to get yourself to that place of a positive mindset?
Honestly, the diagnosis was so huge and so impactful that it was like someone finally switched a light on for me. And I believe that all of those things that happened to me in my past were, it was like the universe or your higher self kind of like giving you a little wake up call and like saying, hey, this, you need to learn from this. But I never learned the lesson. I never learned. I always looked at it and felt sorry for myself, or I was, in this negative mindset. but it finally the universe threw in, this huge life-changing diagnosis that it literally was like a light switch. Someone
Hmm.
flicked on a light switch and said, it was like it slapped me in the face. The universe slapped me in the face. Said, Melinda, wake up.
Hmm.
You're bigger than this. You're better than this. And all of those things you've been through is nothing compared to what could, like, your daughter has cancer. Like, wake up, change it. Like, it, and I wish there was more steps that I could to tell you, but honestly, it was just, if you can see the situations that you view as being bad or negative, if you can literally step back and look at them and say, okay, what's the lesson in this?
Hmm.
What's the lesson to be learned? You know, there was a situation with, my daughter getting cut from her softball team that we've been a part of for a very long time. And at first we were very angry. But then I stepped back and I was like, well, if that didn't happen to her, I'm very grateful for what happened. She wouldn't be on the team she's on now, which is a phenomenal team and a great learning experience for her. Like, if you can just stop responding so fast in the moment and getting so angry and so upset with what's happening and take a deep breath, meditate, or find your peaceful spot and step back and take a look at the situation and say, okay, what can I learn from this? Where's the light in this situation?
Hmm.
Because there always is a light, no matter what you're faced with, and learn from it, then the universe will continue to give you positives instead of the negatives. Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? I feel like I
Hmm.
just wasn't learning anything.
Hmm.
Wasn't I wasn't coming out triumphant of all of these situations. And it took a huge, like, Riley was, we all have, I feel like we all have soul contracts. And Riley, before we came down here, was like, okay, mom, I'm going to get diagnosed with leukemia. And then you're going to wake up and you're going to become this amazing healer that, and I don't know if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am. So some people may look at me, well, when I say this, and think I'm a little crazy, but I am grateful that this happened to me in my life, because I would not be where I am now and I wouldn't have woke
Sure.
up. I could still be spiraling. I could still have these
Hmm.
moments where I'm making myself sick, or living in a world that's full of negativity and
Yeah,
bad, situations. And it is what you make it. Your world is literally what you create it to be. And
absolutely.
if, as long as you can think positive and set your mind to
Hmm.
that mindset and that mind frame, it really is as simple as that. And people are
Right.
going to say, no, no, it's not. It's really harder than that. Well, I know it's harder than that because of everything that I've been through. That's why I thought it was important to share everything that I have been through leading up to this point, because I can relate. I know, like, how hard it is, and you're put in situations where it's so hard and you can't find the light and you can't. So it's, set your intentions, set your
Yeah,
mind, be positive, find the grateful in every situation,
sure.
literally, because it really is as simple as that. And the more you can find the grateful in every situation, the more positive will be coming to you, the more the universe will give you those things that you've been longing your whole entire life.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's so important.
I agree. I did a Facebook Live the other day talking about gratitude. I mean, even if it's as simple as, starting your morning saying, I'm grateful for this cup of coffee,
100%. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I am grateful for this mascara that I am putting on my eyes, or
Yeah.
something. It doesn't have to be a huge thing to be grateful
No,
for. Starting a
no,
small, you know what I mean? And even making a list, because the
absolutely.
key to true happiness is gratitude.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are missing gratitude, it'll be very hard to get into a mindset that is more positive.
Agreed.
And the thing is that we all, no matter if you are, if even if you are a very positive person,
Hmm.
negative thoughts come into play. Not everything is
Absolutely.
positive.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure, like during your daughter's, health crisis and everything that you went through in that journey, were there moments where that positive mindset was a struggle and you
Yes.
were in a negative space?
100%. I learned, I learned that I can't search up other people's stories
Hmm.
because they are not my daughter and that is not my story. I remember there was a young lady who I was following, and unfortunately she ended up passing away. But like her mother would post everything about what was going on with her and her symptoms, and I would literally like, well, oh, well, Riley had that symptom, and I would spiral out of control. And I'm like, oh my God. And I would look at my husband, and my husband is, bless his heart, he is, he definitely we balance so well. And he like looked at me, he's like, babe, you need to unfollow that page. Like, you need to stop. Riley, that's not Riley. That's not her situation. And it was nice to have his support and his love. And actually, going through all of this has made us stronger and more amazing. But yeah, like I, or like when I could always tell when her hemoglobin was low, and even the doctors sometimes would like I remember talking to one on the phone and saying, well, this happened and this happened. They're like, well, no, we tested her hemoglobin last week and it was okay. But I'm like, yes, but I can see this. I can see this is what's going on. They're like, well, do you want to come in? I'm like, yeah. And at one point, her hemoglobin was 5.2. Now, I don't know if you know anything about hemoglobin. That's your red blood, like red blood cells.
Hmm.
And normal is like 10 and above. And Riley's was at 5.2. And they don't even give blood transfusions unless you're below 7. So it was like, I literally, and Riley had such a positive, Riley is such a strong, amazing, she is my hero. She never showed the symptoms of a sick kid. Like, she would never, she healed through art, and she was helped me too through all of this. And it's like, but yes, I had those moments where I would be like, oh, no, 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 this is, no, what's this? And oh, well, she has this symptom, so it must be. But then I would come back and check and be like, no, stop. I can see her ringing that bell. I can literally see it clear as day. So it's like, Melinda, let it go. She's fine. She's good. She's a survivor. She is a strong, brave, courageous human. And it's also, very important to remember that like she gets diagnosed at 11 and she's going through the things you literally don't ever want to see your daughter go through. And if she can go through that and survive that and get through that, then anybody can get through anything. Like,
Hmm.
I hope that people can hear this story and maybe use her as motivation as well, because she is phenomenal. She is my hero. And it's like, yes, it's hard when you're going through the situation to keep that positive mindset, but I would always come back and be like, okay, Melinda, don't do this. This is not, you're better than this. And actually, her getting diagnosed, I haven't made myself vomit since she was diagnosed. So it was almost like Melinda, what are you doing to yourself? What, your daughter's facing leukemia for 2.5 years of chemotherapy and you're making yourself puke? What, you're
Hmm.
literally ruining your body. Why would you do that to yourself? Stop it. It was like, again, like someone flicked on like a switch. Like, why are you worried about this? Why are you doing this to yourself? Look at your daughter. She's amazing. She's a freaking rock star. Like, holy cow. So I guess there are, steps you really need to keep yourself in check and realize that there's a bigger picture here. There's a bigger picture, and there are a lot of people out there going through very hard situations that are keeping positive mindsets. And it's possible. If you ever doubt yourself, maybe someone who's listening to this, going through a similar situation as me, can hear my words and say, if she can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
Like, and that's honestly my part of my goal is like, maybe there's a mom out there going through the same things, because it's not very often you connect with somebody whose daughter or child has cancer. How many people do I know? No, really nobody. I don't know anybody, and that's a hard thing. We had to do this by ourselves. Me and my
Hmm.
husband had to do this by ourselves, and that's another, like, hopefully I can reach somebody who can hear this and say that there is light and there is hope, and
Yes.
and come together as a unit. I can remember when Riley was first diagnosed. First of all, I knew that she had. They came in, they took some of her blood, and they came in. They took Riley out of the room, and I stood up immediately. I said, "No, do not tell me my daughter has cancer." And she looked at me. The nurse said nothing to me, and she just started crying and said, "They're waiting for you at Albany Med." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But it was, my story is, I just want to touch somebody. I want someone to hear that no matter what happens, it's you can get through this. Keep a positive mindset, keep a healing mindset, and you know, it's going to be okay. There's light in every situation. There's a lesson in every situation. As long as you can see that lesson and start to heal yourself, it's really a magical world to be a part of. And
Yeah.
I hope that if I touch just one person, my job is done. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I I hope to touch more, but it's I'm
It's
very,
amazing.
yeah,
Your daughter was your inspiration.
she really was.
I mean, sometimes, and I believe we go through difficult times and the pain, we can turn it around and utilize it as a way to help others and a way to turn it into a positive. And we go through sometimes, I mean, I believe it too. We go through the bad to be able to handle things
Good.
like this, right? Like, or to be able to say, hey, like, I went through this for a reason,
Absolutely. 100%.
And
And
it's powerful and amazing that, I believe that your family holding on to that wasn't even hope as much as it was that, yeah, she's going to get better.
yeah,
Like
we really do. Yeah.
she's going to go through this. And you let her still live her life as a kid.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
so it gave her that opportunity to believe she was going to be okay. She
Yeah.
was going to. So that whole mindset, that whole belief really was the healing factor
Absolutely.
it really
Absolutely.
was. And I am so grateful that you came on here today and shared this story. And if anybody out there is listening and they want to reach out to you to hear more
Yes.
and to get support from you, or
Absolutely.
even to talk to you about Reiki, because I mean, that's something we didn't really get a chance to talk to, but
Yeah.
you are, a Reiki practitioner. And how do people find you?
Yes. Well, I have a page on Facebook. It's Melinda Escobedo. It's Sound Bath and Reiki Healer. But my it's minlin44 at yahoo.com is my email. And then should I say my phone number on? I don't know if, like, they can totally email or like text me or email, or should I
That
post?
is your call.
Okay.
If you
Um,
want people calling you.
I don't mind at all. Like, but okay, so the email, you can definitely email me, but like, I want it definitely to be out there that, this is what got me into Reiki.
Yes.
Realizing that our energy as a family unit helped heal Riley. And then I'm like, energy helped heal my daughter. Like, what is this? Like, I didn't really know what Reiki was before that. And then I started learning about it, and said, oh my gosh, this is something I need to be doing because
Right.
obviously, like, I'm powerful enough to do something like that with my daughter.
Hmm.
Like, I want to help heal others and help them, start their journey as well. So yeah, like, I'm I hope that people can find Reiki if it's not with me, with someone else. Like, I just want people to understand that energy healing is a thing
Yes,
and
it
it is
is.
so important and it's so good. It helps you sleep at night. It helps your blood pressure. It helps relaxation. It helps with there's so many things that Reiki help with that you don't even realize that it helps with anxiety, just grounding. It's
Yeah.
aligning your chakras, which is a whole nother story. Like it's,
I can say that, so I've had experience as somebody who's had Reiki. So when I first got sober, I was dealing with a tremendous amount of pain, grief, trauma.
absolutely, yeah,
And my mother actually introduced me to her childhood BFF. Her name is Joni, and she's, a Reiki practitioner. She also is an ordained minister and marries people. She's an amazing woman.
awesome.
She did some Reiki sessions for me,
It's amazing.
and what released from my body was so powerful. There would be times where I'd be laying there and tears
Yeah,
were just flowing. And I wasn't even sad when I went in there. It wasn't even that I was sad. It was just
yeah,
what I started to release a lot of the grief from when my aunt passed away. My aunt
yeah,
passed away few years before I even got sober.
yeah.
Um, and she was my best friend.
Yes.
My Aunt Linda right here.
Oh, hi, Aunt Linda.
Aunt Linda,
Oh,
she was my light. And,
amazing.
she was a nun, and I wear her cross around my neck every day.
It's amazing.
She when she passed away, I felt like a part of me went with her.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I didn't grieve it because the first thing I did was turn to the bottle. I was in my alcoholism, and my
Absolutely,
alcoholism just kind of continued to spiral even
absolutely.
after that because I
Understandable.
wasn't dealing with it. So when I got sober and I'm dealing with all this crap that's coming up, Reiki was so instrumental in the healing process. And so it's like, so I highly encourage anybody who has not tried it,
Yes,
try it.
absolutely. And
And if you want to get in touch with Melinda, if you are in the upstate New York area, you want to
yes,
schedule a session with Melinda.
please,
She's
yeah.
she's gonna be doing some Reiki on me. I can't wait.
Yay! I know, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I love having new people and experiencing. It's an experience for me as well. Like there'll be times where I feel the person's emotion when
Mhm.
I'm doing Reiki and
Mhm.
I release and I'm like, oh wow, like it's powerful. I actually did I have my very wonderful best friend works for a high school and she has students and I went down and did 10 high school senior girls. I did sound bath. I taught them about Reiki and healing in different forms and I did like Reiki on each one of them and it was the most validating, powerful. I felt all of their emotions. So that's 10 teenage girls and I felt all of their emotions when I left there. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like crying and like anxiety and like, "Oh my God." That was like a roller coaster. And
Mhm.
at the end of everything that happened, each of them came up to me and like I would hold their hands and like, "Can you just tell me, what you saw for me?" And I just started, you know, saying everything that came to me and they were like sobbing and like
Right.
thanking me and telling me how amazing this experience was and it got around the school to the point where like the teachers were like can I come to the next time that she comes down? I want to go. Like everyone wanted to come down to be a part of it and now this year coming up I'm going to have like she wants me to come down twice this year and so like
Yeah.
I'm like it's it's a great way of healing that maybe you don't need that extra medication. You know what I mean? Like it's a way of healing yourself where, you know, don't get me wrong, sometimes depression medications or I had to take them for years, but like it's a way to heal that's more holistic and organic and natural to,
Mhm.
you know, I hope
Yeah.
that more people can, because you don't know what like a lot of people don't know what it is. And like
Yeah.
my dad, like, oh, do I have to take my clothes off? I'm like, Dad, no, like, no, Dad, this isn't a massage. No,
So
I'm literally just,
maybe, so I think what we should do is bring you back
yes,
and talk about what Reiki is,
I
educate
would love
us.
to. That would be amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we are out of time. Oh
Oh,
God, I could have. I just, you know what I love about having guests come on is that the conversations are just so amazing,
yes.
and you
Yeah.
know, I love doing this, and I
Me
loved having
too.
you come on and share your story. And I will also be putting Melissa's contacts in the podcast description for anybody that wants to find her.
Awesome.
And if you want to connect with me on if there's any way that I can be of service in your journey, you can reach out to me on Facebook under Lori A. Murphy, Empowerment Coach for Women, or you can find me through my email at M as in Michael, C, empowerment@gmail.com. And if you have not already subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe, leave a review. This helps keep the podcast boosting in algorithms so that people can find it and be able to hear this messages like this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today,
Thank you.
Melinda. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time, let go of fear and let your spirit shine.
Yay.